to No Broken Legs. I am Evan Belfiore. Joining me on the phone on this pretty dreary Thursday afternoon is Jimmy Champ. Jimmy, how are you?
Oh man, like you said, it's a little dreary out, just like all Browns fans' brains going into this game tonight.
Yeah, the Browns have a lot of players that are injured. So let's just kind of run down what has been going on. These are all updated from the team. Last update came in about an hour ago. It's 1 o'clock now. Odell Beckham Jr. has not practiced this week. It seems like he's probably not going to play. On the good side at receiver, it looks like Jarvis Landry is going to be activated. It looks like he will play. Another good sign, it looks like Jedrick Wills will be back at left tackle. Jack Conklin, though, expected to miss time, so that'll be a problem with Von Miller. We had already said that Owusu Koromoa is out. He'll be out a couple of weeks, so will Kareem Hunt. Baker Mayfield, of course, is not playing tonight. A.J. Green, the backup cornerback, will not be out tonight. On the other side of the football, we don't know who the Denver Broncos quarterback's going to be tonight, Jimmy. So we'll just start like we normally do. Cleveland's home. Denver's coming into town. The spread currently sits at 2. It was 3.5 when we did our podcast earlier this week. That was 2 days ago, so it's already been brought down 1.5. The over-under sits at 41. Jimmy, what should Browns fans expect tonight?
I think Browns fans should probably expect an ugly game similar to the Vikings and Bears game. So I think Jarvis being activated, if he's healthy, is probably
Huge.
a big win. Is probably a big win for the Browns because his skill set probably fits what Case Keenum can do way more than OBJ's. On the offensive line, having Wills back is a big help, but Von Miller plays off the other side. So what I'm looking for the Browns to do, Hudson did not play well last week. Hance played pretty good on the left side. I hope he's got the ability to play both sides and they just slide Hance over to the other side. And hopefully he blocks the shit out of Von Miller and owns him all night and Von Miller doesn't get any sacks. And he can be another Denver Bronco to shut the fuck up. Hopefully, the D-line, it looks like they're all going to be active in play. And they're going to have to be the strength again. Like this is like Miles and Clowney are going to have to go to work tonight. They are going to have to get pressure on whichever quarterback is back there. You can't give them time. It's got to be pressure. Joe Woods is going to have to dial some blitzes up tonight. He's going to have to trust. I mean, the Broncos have a pretty depleted receiving core. They're not one of the better teams in the league offensively, and they're one of the worst teams against defending the pass. I don't know how that plays to what the Browns are going to do. I think Dearness Johnson and Felton are going to be fine at running back. I think there's enough work that they can get the job done. Hopefully there's just none of the let's come out and spread formation nonsense. We actually line up and run the offense. But I think maybe all the injuries will actually benefit Kevin Stefanski coaching this game because maybe he'll be able to kind of simplify, bring it down to a micro level of what the guys he has on the field does the best and just try to do that. Like Denver's defense, while not to the level of Washington's defense, Denver's defense at times this year has underwhelmed and underperformed. So they're beatable. Like they're attackable, they're beatable, but you're going to have to get the run game going to be able to do that to get the dogs off a little bit. That was the problem in Arizona last week. Against Arizona last week is we didn't establish the run enough to get the pass rush off. Like they're going to have to, Dearness Johnson's going to have to get through the line of scrimmage. Who knows how hard that's going to be with the offensive line. It looks like it's going to be an ugly game. I think the Browns are going to win. I picked the Browns straight up. I think it's a field goal game, so I don't like the 2 points. So this is actually the first Browns game of the year I'm not making a wager on either way. I think I would probably take the Browns at -2. But I think, like, I don't like the 2. I loved the 3.5. I was leaning towards Denver. Now with 2, I don't really like it, but I hate the JOKs out. But the linebackers in the secondary are going to have to do their job, and the guys up front are going to have to win individual matchups and get home and cause a ruckus.
This is going to be a sloppy game. I'm taking the Browns because this is the type of game they would always lose, and I believe this is the new Browns, so I'll throw some faith at them. I think this is a total stay away for gamblers.
Yep.
I don't know what the hell the offense looks like with Keenum. I know that there's a lot of the plays that they've had success with. He's just not going to be able to make those throws, and that's very worrisome. What do we get out of the tight ends? They've been very up and down. They were targeting them a lot early in the season, and it looked like they got away from that, or maybe teams adjusted to that. Can they find a way to not only get some productivity out of that position with a receiving core that just Jimmy, the receiving core just they're just I don't know, man. Landry coming back helps, but Beckham's probably not playing again. His shoulder injury is described as pretty serious. I like Peoples-Jones, but I don't think he's ready to be a consistent number 2 contributor. Schwartz has been mostly bad this year. They got to get something out of those tight ends, and they're going to need him on the field to chip Von Miller.
Well, I think that's part of the problem is Njoku's a much better blocker than Hooper, so he's been getting a lot more snaps recently than Hooper because he's been chipping and going out routes, and Hooper's underperformed while he's been running routes. Donovan Peoples-Jones is playing about as well as he can. I don't know if what Higgins looks like without Baker. I don't know. I agree with you that we love the tight ends. We think the tight ends can be a big part of the offense. They need to move the ball down the field a little bit, but let's keep in mind though. I mean, the best statistical year and a half of Case Keenum's career came with Kevin Stefanski as his quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator in Minnesota. So whatever it is Case Keenum does well and does bad, Kevin Stefanski knows what those things are.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think it just we have to see Johnson and Felton on the field. That's going to happen. They're going to play more than the 6-7 plays they played before the game was completely out of hand.
Yes, exactly. And I think you will. I think Stefanski will get back to that. You do still have some pretty good offensive linemen that are heavy. Run behind those guys, right? Roll everything away from Von Miller. Go to where your strengths are. Try to shorten the game, shorten possessions. Be the best team you can be, right? Be the best version of yourself as you can be with all these injuries. Like you said, I mean, with the exception of JOK, the defense is still mostly healthy. The Broncos offense has been sputtering for weeks now. You can't come out and let the Broncos light up the scoreboard.
No, they have to. They've played 3 really good offenses, 1 okay offense, and 2 other offenses that were led by quarterbacks that weren't ready to be on the field. And they've gotten blown up by the 3 good offenses, but this isn't a good offense regardless of who's at quarterback. Bridgewater he was in concussion protocol last week. He finally got out of that. Now he's got an ankle injury, so even if he starts, he may not be healthy enough to finish the game. If Drew Lock comes in and the Browns defense can't stop him, then we should probably move the Browns down from a playoff team to a borderline playoff team. Because if they can't, if they let this Denver team put up, say, 24 or more, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree with you.
Anything else on this game, Jimmy? It's going to be sloppy. It's probably going to be cold and wet. Typical fall, October football game. I'm sure the old school guys will love it.
I wish Nick Chubb was playing in this game.
Hear, hear.
Right? No, I'm kind of like you. I agree with you. This seems like the kind of game the Browns would always lose. I have not lost faith in Kevin Stefanski yet. I'm gonna back him in this game and hope he's able. We talked about it. It's changing the culture. It's changing everything about the organization. Well, once in a while, you've got to win games that your team and your organization is used to losing. This is the kind of game the Browns always lose and underperform in. So I'm with you. I'm excited to see what the game plan looks like. Like I said, I think maybe it'll be a little bit more minimalistic than it's been, and it will just focus on the guys we have and what they do well. Let's do that and play the best game we can play. So I'm looking forward to it, but we need Garrett and Clowney to do great individual things in this game up front.
Yeah, it is sort of an organizational test of this game is with so many people that are injured. And I'm just there's people out there that are like, you can't use injuries as an excuse. And okay, but it's definitely a reason. Like, we can't just pretend that the injuries have no effect. And they've had a pretty profound effect, especially on the offensive side of the ball where everybody's hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Sunday's games. The big one in the AFC North is the Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are 6.5-point favorites. The over-under on this sits at 47. Jimmy, I kind of like the Bengals here. Their defense has been playing pretty good in that offense, man. They can put up points.
They can, but Baltimore likes to get after the quarterback. I think this is going to be a long day for the Bengals. This is a lock for me with Baltimore at -6.5. The Bengals have looked good at times. They've looked bad at times. To me, the Ravens are absolutely still a touchdown better than the Bengals with the way they're playing. They're still having some drops in their wide receiver core. I don't think the Bengals can hang with this Ravens team. I think it may be a good game in the first half, but I think they will break away from them at some point in time. So I'm taking the Ravens here.
All right. Well, I'm taking the Bengals. I'm gonna sprinkle a little faith on them to see if they can actually follow up that good performance they had against Green Bay. One of the more dumb things I've continued to do is I continue to like the Kansas City Chiefs, Jimmy. They're traveling to take on the Tennessee Titans. They're 5.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 57.5, which I love. Kansas City's offense is rolling. The only thing they do is turn the ball over. The defense looks like it's getting a little healthier. If Chris Jones is back for this game, then I absolutely love this as a lock.
Yeah, this is a lock for me with Kansas City. Tennessee has no secondary. The Chiefs are going to throw the ball like 50 times in this game. I know Derrick Henry he's an anomaly. He is an incredible football player. He's not going to be enough for Tennessee to win this game. And, Sean McDermott's coming along as a coach, but Buffalo should have won that game against Tennessee or at least sent it to overtime. The Chiefs aren't going to make that same mistake. The Chiefs are rolling right now. I got the Chiefs in this one. I don't think Tennessee's got enough. I don't think, even with what Derrick Henry's doing right now, I don't think there's enough possessions for him to score with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And you just mentioned Josh Allen. He's one of the teams on a bye this week. The Bills, the Cowboys, the Jaguars, the Chargers, the Vikings, and the Steelers are all on byes. I did like the play call in Buffalo for Josh Allen going for that. And if he doesn't slip on the turf, that's a first down, and Buffalo probably wins that game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, it was the right call. I don't understand why. I think it should have been designed to just go right under center, but you tried to get in the gap and he slipped. But yeah, I mean, I'm not like, there's no part of me that thinks Tennessee is now better or can compete with the best teams in the AFC on a regular basis. Like, I don't believe that. I don't buy it. Like, sorry, I just don't. Sorry.
Well, I feel like a team we feel that way about as well is the Las Vegas Raiders, who are home and hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. They are getting the gentleman's 3 for being the home team. The over-under sits at 49.5. Jimmy, the Eagles, they've been playing tough this year. I don't really trust Jalen Hurts, but they seem to be hanging in a lot of games.
Yeah, for me, this would be I won't bet this game. To me, it's to stay away because Jalen Hurts, whichever one of these teams gets down, they're going to backdoor cover the 3. Like, I think this is a field goal game. I'm going to take Las Vegas at -3 because I have to give them all the kudos in the world. The performance they put up with what they had going on in their organization was incredible last week. That was like so painful for me to spit that out of my mouth, but just kudos to them. It was a great game. Hopefully they can do it 2 weeks in a row. But I do think if the Eagles are the team that gets down, Jalen Hurts will bring them back. Like, I think it's a field goal game either way. Philly does some nice things every game, and then they do some stupid things every game. Like, Jalen Hurts is one of these guys. He's kind of hard to watch a full football game of because he makes some bad plays, but then he makes some really, really impressive plays too. So he's got to grow. I don't know if he's a franchise guy yet or not, but I think it'll be a good.
He doesn't make enough of the average plays.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's the big thing that I look for, especially after what we all saw with quarterbacks like Blake Bortles and Mitch Trubisky, where when they're not even allowing them to make certain throws, like more than 5 yards down the field, then that tells you that's a warning sign. When they can't make those plays consistently, that's bad, and that's where I think Hurts is. Although I am going to take them here because I think his legs give them a dimension that, like you said, always keeps them in games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another team that just confounds me endlessly are the Indianapolis Colts. They've gotten some good games out of Carson Wentz. They're now traveling cross-country to take on the 49ers in San Francisco. The Niners are 4-point favorites. The over-under sits at 44. This is the Sunday night game, Jimmy. I'm going to take the Colts here, I guess. I think this is a stay away, but what the hell are you doing with this game?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have no idea what to think about either of these teams. I'm also taking Indy, but I would not bet on this game with money because the range of outcomes of
somebody else's money.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like the range of outcomes of this game are kind of, it's just so much variance. Like you just don't know what San Francisco is going to do, who they're going to play. You don't know. I mean, Carson Wentz is always one hit away from his game being ruined. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't do Jonathan Taylor things, that offense is pretty predictable. T.Y. Hilton came back and now he's questionable. Like I'm taking the Colts at +4. I don't love it, but I just couldn't bring myself to take San Francisco at -4. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's sort of the same way I was going with that. Like, how could I think this 49ers team's better than anybody by 4?
Yep.
There are 3 games this week that have lines over 10.
Man, we got some college lines this week, man.
If you're in a Survivor, any type of those pools, these teams are going to be involved. These 3 teams will definitely be in moneyline parlays with a number of other teams. We'll start with Arizona hosting the Houston Texans. Arizona Cardinals are 17.5-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5. I'm taking Arizona and making it a lot because I just don't see how Houston can score enough points to keep up with them.
Yeah, I'll probably bet both ways on this game because
Well, you just giving the vig away?
Like 17, it's just so many points in an NFL football game. But you know how I am about narratives. This is the double revenge game of DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt. So it could be a long day for the Houston Texans organization.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. They're gonna. Oh my God, they're gonna fucking murder them.
It's so many points.
If you can find, I think it's worth throwing some money at like +20, +24 when you can find those out there. I mean, you got to get good odds on it. You can't just be getting even money on that. But if you can get like 3-4 to 1 on those, ooh. Because they're going to want to make a statement. J.J. Watt didn't like being there. And, Hopkins, Hopkins got some hurt feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have hurt feelings about that trade, too. But, yeah, Arizona should roll in this game, stay undefeated. Really one of the hottest teams in the league right now.
Motherfuckers. The L.A. Rams are hosting the Detroit Lions, Jimmy. This is a 15-point spread. The over-under sits at 50.5. I'll take the Lions because of their backdoor cover potential, but wait, I'm totally being dumb because there's revenge factor on this. They're going to fucking murder them. I'm making it a lock.
Yes. This is a lock.
Take the floor. I've already made enough a fool of myself.
Much like myself in the way I believe in narrative, Sean McVay does as well. Matt Stafford might throw 7 touchdowns in this football game. Like, if the Rams scored 70 points, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, he is going to let the whole world know the trade he made was the perfect trade, and they are going to blitz the ever-loving shit out of Jared Goff. Like, this is going to be a murder scene. Like, this is going to be bad news for the Detroit Lions.
Wow. I just can't believe I didn't even make that connection. I didn't make that connection with either game. I'm just slipping, Jimmy. I must be slipping.
Hey, man, you've been focusing a lot on our Browns, so it's okay.
This game's going to be a disaster because Detroit's not good. And I know you and our listeners will be able to name this individual but on 92.3 when I was running some errands yesterday, I forget which show it was, but one of the guys asked the other guys
His
to
teams
name
have
a
never
Detroit
won
Lions
when
wide
he's been on the
receiver.
field.
And the producer in the back named Kaderil Hodge after like a minute or two, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they have Hodge, but I don't know who else they have." So
Yes.
it doesn't even matter what they do against Detroit. Like, they're going to be able to cover their receivers, and nobody's going to get open. Like, it's going to be a disaster.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be a rough day for the Detroit Lions.
All right, our last college line is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are hosting the Chicago Bears. This is a 12.5-point spread. The over-under sits at 47. I actually like the Bears here, Jimmy.
Yeah, I like the Bears here as well. I don't talk about like not being able to name a Lions wide receiver. Naming an active Tampa Bay Buccaneer member of the secondary is really tough right now. I think this is going to
Yeah,
actually
Richard
be
Sherman, man. Everything's fine.
No, he's out. He's injured.
Oh,
he got injured.
he's
after,
already hurt?
Yeah, already. Yeah, I think this is actually Justin Fields. If they can protect him a little bit, Justin Fields could have a chance to have a nice game here. I think Tampa Bay wins, but 12.5 is too much for me when you've got a bad secondary. And Chicago's defense is at least league average, if not a little better. So I think they can keep it within 12. So I'm taking the Bears.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears and making it a lock. I think the defense can keep it close enough. Fields can do a couple of things. And like you said, Tampa Bay's really beat up in the secondary, so Fields might be able to get a shot or two here downfield.
Yep.
Green Bay is hosting the Washington Armada. They are 7.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 49. I'm going to take the Packers because Green Bay's good, and I don't think Washington is. I think they're just bad.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to say. It's the Packers. Like, they're a team to put in money line teases. Like, you take the Packers here.
That was pretty simple. Another
Yeah,
person I think you always take in money line bets, but you bet against him, is Geno Smith. His Seattle Seahawks are hosting the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 42.5. This is the Monday night affair, Jimmy. What do you think happens?
It's New Orleans. I do want, Gino, they did cover last week for me against the Steelers, so that helped me out in some teases. But, yeah, I'm taking New Orleans here. I'm so confused with New Orleans. I don't know what to make of them, but I think I know enough about Seattle to know New Orleans can win this game by a touchdown, so I'm taking the Saints.
Yeah, I like that Saints defense against Geno Smith, and as always, I will be throwing this in to pretty much – I'll be throwing New Orleans into every money line parlay I make this weekend because you always bet against Geno Smith. Jimmy, it warms my heart that there's only 3 games left, and we're mentioning New England in with the dregs of the league. It just lifts the day. They're traveling to New York to take on the dreadful Jets. They're 7-point favorites. The over-under sits at 42. I mean, I guess we take New England because they kicked the shit out of the Jets a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you take New England here. The Jets aren't good. New England isn't great, but they'll win this game by a touchdown. It's probably a push, to be honest, because 7's probably where this game ends up. But yeah, like if you could tease the Rams or Arizona up and drop this line down to like 5, like that would probably be a great tease.
I like that.
Yeah, that'd probably be a great tease because I think New England wins this game by a touchdown. I'll take New England. The Jets stink. The New England's a little bit better enough. They should be okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take New England here. Actually, I was wrong there, Jimmy. The Jets are traveling to New England, so New England's home, which makes me even more confident about that 7.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason I realize that is because the New York Giants are home, and they're hosting the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are 3-point favorites. The over-under sits at 43. The Sam Darnold experience isn't going very well right now, Jimmy.
Well. It hasn't gone well against pretty good teams, but I don't think the New York Giants are a pretty good team. So I'm taking Carolina. Is it still at 3?
Yeah, that's what it was when I checked.
Yeah, I'm taking Carolina at 3. I think Carolina can win this game. But no, Sam Darnold he's at times looked much more efficient than he did as a Jet. And then times he's looked exactly like his Jet self, man. He throws at least 2 passes a game where you just have to yell at the TV, what is you doing? But But I think they've got enough pieces to win this game.
Yeah, I'll take Carolina. The Giants are really, really bad. Like
Yeah.
they're bad, and Carolina's defense gotten exposed a little bit recently, but they've shown up against bad teams. This is my final lock of the week, actually. So that's where we are. That's how bad the Giants are. I think Sam
Yeah.
Darnold's a lock against them. Our final game of the week, Jimmy, the Atlanta Falcons are traveling south to take on the Miami Dolphins. Neither of these teams is trending in the right direction. The Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 47.5. These teams suck, Jimmy, and probably what more people will talk about than this game is the Deshaun Watson rumors that picked up. There's talk that he may be traded tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm taking Atlanta because basically every player except for their young wide receiver has been linked to being traded for Deshaun Watson. Like apparently Deshaun Watson's going to play 13 positions apparently. Like I think there's just got to be a horrible vibe within that team right now. So I'm going to take Atlanta. This will be the game this week that I watch no snaps of.
Yeah, don't. Nobody out there should punish themselves by watching any of this football game.
No.
Matt Ryan looks like he's pretty much cooked and should probably retire at the end of the season. They were talking about him maybe going somewhere else, but I can't imagine there's a team out there looking at him and going, "Oh yeah, we got to go get Matt Ryan."
I agree.
All right, well that wraps up the slate of games for Week 7. Any final thoughts on this week, Jimmy? There's a lot of good teams against bad teams or bad teams against bad teams. There's not really pretty much the marquee matchups, that Baltimore-Cincy game.
Yeah, I think the Baltimore-Cincy game is actually a really big game. Yeah, KC and Tennessee is the 1:00 game I'm most interested in. I want to see Kansas City play complete on both sides of the ball for a whole game, which I think they have a chance of doing that. And then who the hell knows what Derrick Henry's going to do? Maybe he runs for 600 yards and 8 touchdowns. Like you just don't know. I'm just excited for the 4:00 window for those college line games. Like I cannot wait to watch Detroit and the Rams. Like I cannot wait to watch that football game. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for that game.
Yeah, this is a good week for basically all of the offensive players on the Cardinals and Rams, but specifically Hopkins is like take the over on passing yards for Murray, take the over on passing yards for Stafford, all the receivers overs.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I thought it was funny when I was looking at my card this week. I didn't actually look to see what the record ended up being of all the home dogs last week, but I only took 3 this week. I only took 3 teams. I only took 4 teams on the road this week. Almost all of my picks were home teams this week.
Well, let's take a look here. Jacksonville, Philadelphia, Tennessee. So a couple of them won. Tennessee, Philadelphia, Jacksonville. Those were the 3 home dogs that won last week.
So a couple of them hit then.
Or covered, I should say. Sorry, against the spread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because Philadelphia
the
lost. They got that. Oh, my God, that 2-point conversion on 6.5 made me so angry, Jimmy.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I feel you, brother.
And yeah, the big thing tonight is can this Cleveland Browns team just find a way to get a win tonight?
Yeah, I think they can. I really do. I mean, Denver is not nearly the quality of opponent they've been playing. Denver is not going to like score on 3 straight drives like what has been happening. Like the defense has a chance to grab a hold of this game early. They're going to have to do it. And like I said, I mean, Kevin Stefanski has gotten a lot out of Case Keenum in the past. I expect him to maximize what Keenum does well, even in the bad weather, minimize what he doesn't do well. And I think you'll see a lot of Dearness Johnson and Mr. Felton. I think they're going to get a lot of touches.
Oh, man, I hope so. I don't think this is a must-win because I don't think Week 7 games are must-win. I mean, they could lose this game, get healthy over the next 10, and then, wind up, 7-4 going into Baltimore. Like, we wouldn't take that as a loss at this point, but they really need to win this game because as beat up as they are, it doesn't look like some of their future games are going to be as easy as we thought. Pittsburgh seems like they're they've bottomed out. They're not great, but they're still formidable. And the Bengals
Yeah.
look like they're not just going to be a walkover anymore.
No, but I think against both of those teams, if the Browns are healthy, our strength goes against their weakness as well.
Yeah.
But that does come with health. But it would be nice if you could get a win with an unhealthy team on Thursday night and have all that extra time, those 3 extra days to get ready for that next game. It would be huge for the team.
Amen. That would be great if they could roll into Pittsburgh. Or are they home or away for that game?
I believe they're home, but I'm not sure.
It would just be nice for them to have some of these guys back. Having Wills back tonight is really good, and it looks like Conklin maybe could have played if the game was on Sunday, so they should have both tackles back for that Steelers game.
Yep.
We'll be watching tonight, and hopefully we get a Browns win, Jimmy. Thank you for joining me.
No place I'd rather be, brother.
All right, and thank you for listening. For Jimmy Champ, I'm Evan Belfiore, and we are No Broken Legs.
Every action has a repercussion. Lyrical bullets don't make me get the bussin'. Representing